My name is Neenah Greenfield. I'm 26 years old tomorrow and the oldest of 5 siblings. Ages ranges from 14 to 20. After high school, I went on to Lansing Community College to study emergency medical response. I quickly came to the conclusion that sitting in a classroom and trying to get through hours of lectures just wasn't my thing, so I decided to drop out and enlist in the United States Marine Corps. After my enlistment, I went on to work in the field of security and worked as a guard in several different locations. After the security company I was working for went out of business, I decided to try my hand in factory work, enjoying the weird things that happens on the midnight shift. So as you can see, I was quite active, always on the go, headstrong, and just taking life by the reins. On the night of April 4th, 2019, I was on my way to work at 10 p.m. in my brand new 2014 black Chevy Malibu, heading down Grand River to stop and get my caffeine fix at the Flying J that's located at the 96 and 69 ramps. I was going at about 55 miles per hour when I rear-ended a semi-truck. The medic said that I was very lucky and that there had been a trailer attached. I would not be here speaking to you today. The impact of my front end to the semi had caused my car to flip over and land on the driver's side. And then when the car finally stopped sliding, it flipped back up right into the ditch. The impact of the roof of my car to the road caused the roof to cave in on the driver's side, pinching me in between the top and the center console. Airbags were deployed. I have no recollection of this, but as the doctors stated was reported, I had lost consciousness after the initial impact of 30 seconds or more. The deployment of the airbags and the caving of the roof caused me to take multiple blows to the left side of my brain. The only thing I do really remember is that when I regained consciousness and was stuck in my car, all I could think was, to call my mom. Sorry. We all know that when something goes wrong, we gotta call Mama. She knows what to do. Next thing I know, the medics are yelling at me to stay awake. And all of a sudden, I'm in the trauma unit. The nurses are just swarming me and cutting all my clothes. I'm completely in tears and screaming at them to quit touching my hands because they were full of glass. I also lost response to my right arm and had to get x-rays done. No breaks or traumatic injury to that. My mom said that as soon as they were able to get me calmed down, I seemed to be acting myself. I woke the next day in the gastro-surgical floor. I had excruciating pain all over my head, and it was just banging. I couldn't stop crying, and the patient on the other side was yelling about my crying, which made my head hurt even more. I was getting the weirdest look from my mom because my speech had become almost what seemed to be in slow motion. A few days later, a doctor and the whole group of what seemed to be students or residents had come in to talk to me. I swear to this day the doctor looked just like Santa Claus, though. Maybe it was the medication, I don't know. He told me that it's not just the medication affecting me. I have a severe injury to my head called a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury. He then said that I was en route to transfer to Mary Free Bed, where they will be helping rehabilitate me. Excuse me. After arriving to Mary Free Bed, I received my diagnosis on the symptoms I was having, which included slurred speech, adenomia, also known as a monotone voice, which didn't express any kind of emotion, terrible vertigo and double vision, unable to walk or let alone keep my head up, light and sound sensitivity, signs of PTSD and severe anxiety with unable to deal with high stimulation, and a huge struggle with my cognitive skills. I promise that's all. It's a long list. On top of all this, I was later diagnosed with a torn labrum and arthritic changes with my lumbar, with herniated discs, which lead to other rehabilitations and doctors I saw up until a year ago for pain management. I didn't even know what a cow was when I was shown a picture, and I even thought a clock had 13 numbers on it. At that point, I'd become frustrated and felt defeated. I spent another week in Mary Free Bed. I remember that during this time, I swear every single one of my friends and family members came to visit me, which I'm very grateful for. But dealing with the headaches and everything I was going through, I was also angry. And I was angry that I wasn't left alone. I could only take so much conversing before I just wanted to be alone. This is where I was introduced to neurofatigue. I was so tired all the time, especially after therapy sessions I had in the day. The nurses were the biggest help for me. I was making jokes left and right, and even said that my slow speech was great because then it gave me more time to think of something funny to say back. They would just give me the same sarcasm and weren't having it with any of my antics. I had an alarm on my bed due to being a great fall risk, and I would purposely shift my weight to make it go off just so the nurses would come help me faster. They let me go home after graduating to a walker and being able to get in and out of bed without too much assistance. This is when I was introduced to the Origami Brain Rehabilitation Center and decided to stay with my aunt, who helped me with everything and made sure I took my meds and helped me whenever I really needed it. Here's where I got to face the hardest and most trying time of my life and met the best therapist anyone could ask for. Miss Linda was my speech therapist. She never took no for an answer and even had me sing to her before recently releasing me from her care. Definitely good she had the door shut or I'd have the whole office laughing. Miss Jessica, my occupational therapist, helped me with my speed and cognitive skills and also did vision therapy to help me with my balance and to see better. Miss Casey, who was under the guidance of my physical therapist, never let me give up on walking or getting my coordination back, which I couldn't be more grateful for her. Heather for helping me get back to driving my newly at the time, 2002 red Monte Carlo SS. Oh, that one's gone now. It was a pile of junk, and I said it was my pride and joy at the time. It's not there anymore. On the side, I also got to attend groups with Miss Carly doing brain groups, art, and swimming sessions to help me walk right. We even got to go on trips outside of Origami. That's where I got to get close with some of the other residents here, and they helped me appreciate the other side of life, and that people with special needs are people too, and also need love and patience. I would hate it when people stared at us. I would just stare back. That's when Dr. Kennedy came in for help. She was my psychologist. All the emotional struggles I was having, she helped me learn that everything was going to be okay. Even if I'll never be the same again, she helped me accept that I had control of 90% of what's happening in my life, but the other 10 is up to others on how to take me as I am, and that they choose how they want to react to what happens. Through all of this, I always felt myself apologizing and feeling like a burden, but that is not the case at all. My family and friends saw that I was still me and never gave up or let me give up. In June of 2019, I got to graduate to walking all on my own and was released from almost all of my therapists due to putting an immense amount of work and never giving up. In October 2019, I was released from my last therapy with Miss Colette for vocational therapy, working on getting the rest of my life pieced together. I finished my career trial with Peckham and am now working full-time at a place called ProGrow. I am walking, as you can see, and driving on my own and doing everything just fine. I currently live in a one-bedroom loft with Charlie, my pet bearded dragon, and my 2-year-old German Shepherd, Axel. I'd like to thank my Uncle Billy for being there on my bedside every single night. And the day while I was in the hospital, he never left my side, no matter what, even if he was falling asleep in that chair. Thank you to my mom and dad for giving me unconditional love and support, and their significant others and children, and all my family and friends for cheering me on. I named them all, but we'd be stuck here for hours. To all my therapists for their help and time, and the way they saw my potential even when I didn't. And last but not least, I want to thank Miss Janine Reagan, my caseworker, for getting me here and getting me through everything and making sure that my life was set before she released me from under her care, even when they weren't paying her. Thank you.